G'day all and welcome back to episode 15 of my Automation Nation Survival. How the sniff has everyone been? Today I want to show you my multi-drone, multi-ship printer and missile storage, as well as building up 3 brand new designs including my Minefield Drone 2.1, an auto mine collecting drone to collect all the existing mines out in the world to be replaced with new ones, as well as showing you and launching my brand new Planetary cluster missile design to then launch them after being stored at that tower in the background about 5-6 k's away. So after we've all done that, I'll go over what I've done to the drone hub doors and see what you think, as well as some suggestions in the description and comments below. With that all being said, thanks for watching again and let's get stuck into it. Here we are over in the spare hole I dug that hadn't been used until I built this printer in. Now that I've built it in this hole, I'm thinking of moving it over to like here or so, just so it works better with the missiles and the GPS marker it first needs to align itself to attack an enemy down the line using that sensor mod. So I'm thinking of, even once moving this hole, digging a new one with my Mark II drilling rig, now with flight capabilities. Make sure you go and download that right this second in the description below. But I was thinking of putting a really easy, simple grinder pit just here for when we collect these mines to recycle them. But we'll see how that goes in the next episode when I try and upgrade this tower to handle those Mark II drones. Getting into this printer, finally, let's print up one of these missiles. Let's get rid of all the GPSs, that's much better. Let's get the missile projector on and the printer head projector. Now the printer head projector has 2 of these that it needs to then print onto the missile itself. So let's get this going. Let's turn on those welders and let's reverse them. Or not exactly reverse, but retract them at that slower speed by decreasing the velocity, and then we'll increase the velocity to then reset the printer nice and fast. So here we go, as this prints up nice and fast. This was actually quite a difficult build to accomplish, for the fact that the further and further away the enemy target is, the more and more the Coriolis effect becomes a problem, for the fact it makes the missile too high to then hit the target dead on with gravity that makes these cluster missiles like fall, drop and separate, etc. But we'll finish that up. That's all nice and done. There we go. Turn those printer welders off, speed them up a little bit. And the way I've got this to work is that this button here is just this main piston to reverse it back and forth, just to clear them from the printer itself to launch or to do whatever you want. Plus it looks really cool. So I'll wait for this to go over, and once I press this button right here for the M storage trigger, that M storage trigger has got all 4 of these timer blocks combined, and the way it works is that 1, 2, 3 and 4 each represents an individual arm on this storage device itself. So the way it works is that, let's just go into one of them itself. So here we go, here's the timer I was talking about, and the way it works is that it just reverses the piston itself, starts a reset timer to then time it to move on to the next one, etc. Connects up that block to make sure it can connect onto the missile on the storage that's just printed up. It will turn on the next storage timer as well as turn off itself. So only one of these timer blocks can be triggered at once. So let's go over here. Press that trigger button right so. It will then extend over, connect it back up, fire this off, just like so, disconnecting it from that grid, times it over about, I think it's about 20 seconds on a 0.08 velocity on this rotor, to then get a nice good 90-degree angle to where it will stop. By this timer right here, that it started once more from that reset timer to then stop the device from moving, just like so, at a nice good 90-degree angle. So let's print up the rest of them and then we'll move right on. I'll also explain several things along the way, so make sure you don't miss out on anything like this. Plus I'll also do like a time lapse, I think, of all these drones building up of some sort, I think. What's going on here? Ah, okay, yep. See, that's also why I had this piston. So if we decrease the velocity, I've never had that do that before, so let's just decrease it. There we go. Cleared out of the way. Let's move them back over. Yeah, excellent. So that missile missile projector is already on. Same with that printer head. And don't forget, I will upload this entire build right here as soon as I can with all my ships, everything that you see and what we can build today on all these projectors and such. So let's get into printing up the next one. There we go. And let's move this over. So also this will, being on the printer, as it prints up, all the batteries start with 30% charge straight away. The reason why I've got it to connect onto the printer itself is to just fill these tanks up with the hydrogen it needs to use and to thrust itself towards that enemy using the sensor up the top, which I'll get to very shortly. Here we go. Printing it up nice and easy once more. So satisfying watching this. Oh, that button didn't get done. I'll have to fix that. That's alright. Oh, there it goes. It just does it last. I always forget that. There's also several things as well with this build that I'll have to explain. So, in terms that if you press the activate button on it while it's on this grid, it will actually trigger that one as well. Currently having the same problems with my drones and having the groups, like the thruster groups, all named the same name for the group item itself. So once it turns off in that secure dock on my base, it kind of changes all the rest of my drones with the same name group of those thrusters to change that action on that secure dock as that drone connects. So that's what I'm going to have to fix in the future, see how that goes. But let's get this back over and let's get this out of the way to move on to the next ones. So talking about that actually allows this to fill up. Takes about 20-30 seconds or something like that. So almost by the time it's completely finished building, it will actually have already been full. So let's just hit this button again. We can actually see those timers in the background right there. Change it. So 3, 2, 1. Oh, no. Wrong button, Sharpie. 3, 2, 1. See, it changes it. So it turns itself off, but turns the next one on. Not in that order, otherwise it won't work. It needs to turn the next one on before turning the old one off. Why? Why didn't that lock up? Give me a second and I'll fix that. Alrighty, back with take 2. Let's print up another one and let's retry that again, as I think my rotor was off its actual axis itself from me loading and saving the game off camera so many times. So let's try that again. Let's get those printer welders back on and let's get that welders to go back a little bit. There we go. There we go, there we go. As because this thing runs on time to get that 90-degree angle, I have to reset that rotor every, say, about 8 to 12 missiles that were printed up kind of thing. So it is what it is. I can just refine that later on. Should be no problemo. There we go. Finish building everything up. Excellent. Turn those welders off. Get them out of the way. Let's get that piston back over here again and let's try it again. As it should have locked up and I went through back the recording, but it just did not connect for some reason. So I've closed the game, opened it back up, and this should work perfectly fine as it has without fail, pretty much. There you go, the lock up, the shoot off, there we go. Much better. Yeah, that rotor was literally off by like 0.038 or something like that. But I have done this test many a times on this printer, so I'm not surprised that that was off. That will be fixed in the final upload. Don't you worry about that. So as I was continuing on, let's get up with the rest of these. Let's move them over. So with these missiles, I've got them to counteract that Coriolis effect I was talking about, with an overridden gyro set to 0.02 velocity, or whatever you want to call it. and that's on about 75% power on that single gyro, just to point it downwards to counteract the curvature of the planet kind of thing. So let's print up the next one and continue on with explaining a lot of stuff and things. So the way this works is I've got one timer to disconnect this merge block, so it disconnects it from all other grids and it's on its own separate thing, to then turn one of these batteries to then auto, so it has power to produce and do everything I need it to do, turns off the stockpile and just turns on two of these overridden thrusters on the bottom to launch them up to go over to the GPS to turn on their sensors to then look and search for an enemy to find it out and destroy it, hopefully. But you'll see that in this episode very shortly, don't you worry about that. Let's get these back off. Let's reverse them out of the way. Get that piston back over. Just like so, nice and easy. It's always so satisfying watching this. And this took me quite a long time. I found several bugs with SE building this thing. There it is. So even if it's not perfectly on the merge, it still has enough magnetism to get it anyway, which is why I was so surprised it failed before. Like, you saw how far that was off, yet it still grabbed it. There we go. Let's print up the next one, get them out of the way. Increase that velocity on those pistons several times by that 0.5 velocity that's normally set by default on button presses. There we go. Let's get the welders back on. Decrease that velocity several times until we get a nice slow speed, just like that. And yes, this is 100% survival, and yes, I'm not, well, I can die from standing here, but I'm not, because they only like doing in front of them. So that's actually not too bad. My original design didn't have as many on it. Then I realized that if I had it at a certain height, I wouldn't get cooked from it, which is really good. Not dying in SE is always a good thing. So let's get rid of them out of the way even further. Get that piston back over. So the whole reason why I made this storage is just to give them a little bit more charge on the batteries. For the fact that 30% makes it about 2-3 kilometers away. But not much further than that. So any more charge than that is all the better. So that's obviously already charged 100%, and there's two of those in there. One there, one there. See what I mean? It didn't connect. I don't know why that didn't connect. That's the weirdest thing. I'll be back in again to fix this. Yeah, you see how far that is off now. I'm going to have to fix that. So one of my calculations must be off on that rotor. Or from when building it from that projector I placed over there. It may have messed with a couple of the settings, so I'll have to fix that for sure. That's for future Sharpie. Here we go, let's try that again. Get that out of the way. Let's fix this rotor. Move back over here so it doesn't disconnect me. There we go. So what's it on now? 84. So this needs to be 90. There it is. There's the 90 degrees that we want. Much better. And that's how you do it nice and simply. Once you've done that, go back into the rotor, or just not leave like I did. And then just change these values back up to unlimited. Just like that. So it's on a 0.7 velocity, not 0.8 like I said before. Here we go. Let's print up another one. Nice and easy. As you see, it's just so simple printing these things up, even if something goes wrong. And you can also just launch this as is right here, right now as well. But you may want to put something here to stop it from dropping, because it will drop when triggered, which you'll see very shortly. Here we go. And then I'll explain this a lot more when it's in the air launching. So I'll launch one to see the distance it needs to trigger, and then I'll launch the other 3 straight after that. So that should be really fun. Here we go, move everything out of the way. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and that like if you want to see more, especially when you want to be notified for when this is released to Mod.io and Steam Workshop. So here we go once more. Straight in, perfect, bang. There it goes. Cool, so they're all goodly and stored. We can finally move on to the next drone. Let's get all these pistons back over here. Let's turn off that missile printer. So while these are all retracting, we've got the old Minefield Drone here. These are all buttons for the projectors, obviously. We have the new Minefield Drone 2.0, which I'll press right now and start building it. See it in the background, it'd be really cool. And then we've got the player follow drone right here, the missile, the patrol drone, the signal collector, the unknown signal collector drone, the cargo drone, and then the printer head obviously right there. We also have this sneaky mine collector drone right there, which I'll be printing up right after this one here. So I get to finally show off my final design of this Minefield Drone 2.0 or 2.1 from the video that's in the top right hand side of your screen right this second. If not, it was before. I'll also probably put it in the description below also. So let's just jump up here. That's why I put that ramp there, to get a nice good view without using my jetpack, so I can save it for later, I guess. As you can see, I've got a nice new turret on the top of it and just conveyed it through to this connector that's now through the bottom. I'll also fly up to the tower very quickly. The new tower is actually a lot more box-like, but it allows me to put turrets on the sides of it without blocking these, which is absolutely fantastic. So the complete tower functionality is still the exact same, except the top of it is not going to be this kind of flower type. It's going to be much more boxed off, for the fact that I have to use this conveyor junction for a sorter to allow only chutes and ammo to then go into the new drones on the new tower. So that will be all ready and waiting, hopefully, for the next episode. Make sure you chill around, and we're still going to talk about all these doors and my horrible artistry on colouring very shortly after all these and this next drone, which I might as well even trigger it up and show you, but not this one exactly. This one can get nicked, as you already know what this thing does, and I didn't realise it doesn't have its thrusters on. I'll have to add that. M drone thrusters on off. Don't explode the missile, Sharpie. The gyros are not on. There we go. Let's just get it out of the way. Over there sounds good. Sounds good. Turn the thrusters off so it doesn't explode anything. Awesome. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Let's turn that merge block back on. Bring those pistons back over. Turn the welders off so we don't build anything else up. And let's get this mine collector. This is my most recent build, for the fact that I couldn't be bothered going out and collecting all those mines specifically and then dropping them off at a grinder pit. That'll be hopefully ready and waiting for next episode also. So let's get this bad boy printed up and triggered up to explain how it works and how I'm gonna try and simplify things as much as possible, which is usually quite my style. So this time I'll get my jetpack on so we get a nice good look at it. So I've got the connector to allow the conversion, to allow the transfer of the canvas into the chute up the top, which allows it to go from the GPS used to drop these mines to then use the same one on this mine collector to just literally drop down, connect up to this, fly over to a grinder pit of sorts, and then go to the next one and continue on. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. Plus, I might even clip to a very funny blooper right meow. The reason why, it was for the fact that these the mag plates in general were still on auto lock even though they were off. So as they're being printed up, oh, it does exactly this. Here you go, you actually get to see it firsthand. Fantastic. It only does it on one side though, which is funny enough. Boom! Bye-bye. That's really funny how it does that, and I should have saved, but oh well. That's really funny. Yeah, just imagine that, but on this side as well. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever seen that glitch or bug or whatever it is. And I think it's because the auto lock on the auto collector mine I was just printing up just then, as the mag plates are printing up, they're still on and locked to the welders themselves before the blueprint itself turns it back off from my original save, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So let me just get everything set back up again, nice and neat, and we'll continue on. So give me a hot sec. Alrighty then, back again once more. The reason I think that is gonna fix it, or the way I think it's gonna fix it, collector, this one right here, is because I never updated my blueprint to fix that one problem. Solo mine, there it is, mine collector drone. This should not have any problems. Pro collector, if I can spell, it'd be great. Keep only buildable, good. Alright, so this should now work. Let's just pop a quick save right there, and let's print a Rooney. This should not have any issues now, because I'm pretty sure I re-blueprinted this drone very quickly before starting this episode, but I never actually did it, and that noise is not a good thing. Owie, I cooked myself a little bit, that's my fault. Turn that on, see if that fixes it, at least that noise. Maybe if I fly back a little bit. I think it's finished. There we go. There we go. That fixed it. That's much better. See, it's the mag plates. As they're being printed up, they are actually on, so the auto lock was still enabled before being turned off from the blueprint projecting kind of thing, if that makes sense. Finally, that's all done. So what I really want it to do is I want to get some shoots. Do I have some shoots on me? Nope, give me a sec. Let me go grab some. I'm sure I've got some here somewhere. Alright, now that we got some canvas, because I don't know how to name it properly and I'm a schmuck, but here we go. Let's do, I need to do 2 of those just for now. There we go, automatically taken into, yep, into these hatches. Excellent. That should be enough charge on that for now. Let's go into the remote block and let's program it up very quickly, and I'll show you how it's going to work. So the way I want it to do it is I want it to clear the, there we go. So we're going to use the tower approach, the one we use above the tower to dock those Minefield drones on top. And then we're going to be using 2A on those GPSs where that Minefield drone had already dropped those turrets before. So we want to add that as well. With these, go to 2A, and then what I want it to do is just go to the new GPS that I need to show you anyways. So once it gets there, I want it to, where is it? So I want it to drop using the drop timer. And once it gets to Missile East, I want it to unlock and drop the payload, but also stop that stuck timer, which will start once it gets to the actual thing it needs to collect to make sure it didn't stick to the voxels or get stuck in any way. It's just a 2-minute timer, which I can even show you very quickly. Here we go, right there, 2 minutes, and it's just going to unlock the plates, and so it returns on its journey, just so it doesn't stick anywhere, and it's just a redundancy. So now that that's all done, I'm going to lock with it, and let's go. Let's hope I've got enough hydrogen, and it should, hopefully, that's all right. It's got the tires. It won't do that, as for the fact that this tower approach was a lot closer than I thought. But that's fine, it didn't do any damage. It'll go up to the tower approach, which you can't see right now, it's kind of hidden. And then it's going to go to the 2A, which is going to be that one there or that one there, I'm pretty sure. Yep, there it is. So what it will do here is it will trigger the drop timer once it gets to that 2A, which will open the parachutes, turn off most of the thrusters on the sides of it, so it allows it to drop down with gravity just like normal. Starts a timer for 10 seconds to allow it to do that, and to turn on a really simple sensor. Oh, it didn't grab it. Okay, I need to increase that timer just a smidge. It's alright, we can test that again. This one here, it just picks up anything underneath it just to turn those thrusters back on, because if it were to hit it, like hit me right here for instance on its way down, it would then push the other side up and like flip over and do some really weird stuff. So that's not really good. Let me just fix this real quick. That is the grab mine. In the control panel, grab mine. So all I need to do is I just need to increase that by like 2 seconds, something like that. Let's get some more chutes in it. Let's just jam 12 in it. Why not? And same exact path, go. Here we go, take 2. All we did was just change that timer, and that's it. Oh, apart from putting some more chutes in it that it needs. But obviously with the connector it should have more than enough to do all of the mines, where I'm expecting the remote block GPS location and its action list is going to be extremely long, so that's going to be interesting to see that one. It's going to be really fun. So there it is once more at the tower approach. Comes over to the 2A, and that's why I got it to drop so far away from the solar panel. Should come down, start that exact same timer that we added the 2 seconds to, and it should be fine and dandy to grab this now. And grab. Or not. Okay, so that's in the way of it. It's alright, we'll go take 3, and I'm just going to get rid of that. So don't forget this was my most recent drone. Here we go, take 3, doing nothing else except now we've removed that merge block underneath, so it should have no problem grabbing it. It could be for the fact that I changed the remote block's speed from 40 to 30, so let's go up to 40 back up again. See if that does anything. Go. Might even have to put a cargo in the middle of it, just so, because I noticed just before it's dipping on the backside, just like so, as you notice. That was not in my testing, but at the same time, I'm much higher in this world, so there it is, there's the lock. So it just needs a little bit of fiddling, but should be fine nonetheless. So let's just watch it drop here and it should be fine. On that missile GPS we'll get to in just a hot second. As soon as this drops, we're going to go straight over to those missiles, do everything and get everything all fired up to get this ORKS tower out of my way, because it's sending a lot of stuff. Dropped it, no problem. So obviously where it would drop it would be a grinder pit underneath, more than likely the one just here or so. So that should be all right, but I'll probably, as I said before, move the hole over here to fix the missiles, for the fact that when they get launched up, they get an overridden thruster to set a timer to then go up to move straight over to that actual missile east timer. So what we're going to need to do is I'm going to need to set up a couple things, and I'll be right back, including getting rid of this drone and putting it somewhere. So I'll be right back, 1 sec. Here we are, finally the moment has finally arrived that we're going to be launching these at that ORKS tower about 5 or 6 Ks away, and I'll be explaining a lot of the things on how this works along its way. So what you need to do is you need to go into the remote block itself, make sure you name the white one the correct number so you know what correct one to add to this GPS. The one we're going to be using is that missile east from just before, so we'll add that. And let's go to that correct timer block to add to remote 4 and just add it to trigger. Done and dusted. So what we're going to do from here is I'm going to turn my jetpack on. I'm going to turn on creative, invulnerable and untargetable just for this test. I'm going to lock to the missile and then press this button here, which turns on one of those batteries from recharge to auto to allow power to the vessel itself. Clears the actual printer by those two overridden thrusters at the back here to then move over to that missile east to trigger that add to remote timer. What that will do is that it turns on this gyro to counteract the curvature of the Earth so it doesn't end up being too high. It also turns on these from stockpile to auto. There you go, it just hit that GPS and turns on this thruster to blast full speed ahead. As you can see, we're speeding up. Once that's all done, it will turn on these 3 sensors. These 2 here on the front of it, just like there and there, are to control these 2 gyros to point it in the actual direction of the enemy. The reason why they're so far apart, you have to have one block in between, makes it much more stable and much more accurate for it to grab onto that enemy with that sensor mod itself. And all it does is just it extends the range from 50 meters to 1200 as it should be in base game. Once it's found the enemy, it will then point it in the general direction. As you see, it is definitely not aiming at it. Right about now-ish. Oh, there it is. It locks onto the actual target. This thing has an inhibitor field, which is why I've got creative mode tools on. It will then get to a certain point away where that other sensor will then trigger exactly what you saw just there for it to separate. Here it comes down, boom, nice good hit. As you see, the height makes a huge difference, which I'll explain very shortly when I get back to the base. So back at the base, here we are, and what I mean by how high this thing will go depends on where the missiles and the cluster nukes themselves will land. So let's go into the sensor itself, the sensor front, on this exact missile grid itself. It's set to trigger it to separate everything and deploy at 900 meters from that enemy. If I were to extend this to 1,000, so an extra 100 meters, it will then release those missiles 100 meters further away from the target. So it will now hit the base of the tower instead of the middle. So we'll leave that one as is and we'll go and do something very similar on the other one. Let's go into that sensor once more, the front sensor. And let's change this to 800. So now it will hit the top of the tower because the sensor will detect the enemy later than the original one from that 900 meters. I'll leave this one here as was the one before. So we'll have the top of the tower will attack, the bottom of the tower will attack, and then back into the middle like it was to begin with. So let's get all of that junk out of the way and let's see if we can destroy this up. And anything else, I'm probably missing a lot of stuff and things, but I'm hoping Editor Sharpie will help me out on that one. Just give them a little bit of a break to clear each other, as collision avoidance has to be off on these things. The remote block really doesn't like it, as I found a lot of bugs in SE with these, with remote blocks or even drones in general. It's insane how many bugs you find. Let's go over here. Uh-oh. Where are ya? I haven't got time for you. I haven't got time for you. That's alright. I'm gonna have to catch up with my... No. It's alright. At least we know where we're going. Or where they're going. There we Go get rid of all that. Let's see if I can set it up nicely. And even then, even when they're black, you really can't see them. It's quite intense, actually. So they're quite stealth for the fact that they don't have an antenna on them. And yeah, they're really quite powerful. I'm also thinking of building another drone that will seek out an enemy, turn on all of its thrusters, stopping it and making it hover in midair. Here comes the first one right now. To then just shoot an enemy with like missile turrets or whatever. So that's the first one we launched. So you see it's hitting the bottom of the tower, or not really. This one should hit the top of the tower roughly. There we go. And then here comes the third one. There we go. Hits the bottom of the tower. There you go. I had the order in the wrong direction, but as you see, you can just launch them up. They're quite cheap. They can do quite a lot of damage when configured properly, but that will be in the final design when I release it. So make sure you hit that like button if you want to see more, hit that subscribe, comment below, all that lovely good stuff, as I really do appreciate every second of it. At the moment, I just got over COVID, which is why it has been a while since I uploaded. Let me just pop myself over here while being in creative, and I'll quickly go over these doors before signing off until next episode. So we can turn all of these back off again, as I hate that. It's very, very cheaty. I've got several doors here, which I'm not too sure which one I want, really. So let's press the button and see which one. So we've got this one here. They open from the sides, and I'm probably thinking this one is my favorite of all. Just like the sides. And oh, I need to go close this. There we go. Need to go and open this one, or close it. And then this one's just on those two pistons, moves it over, or when it decides to work. Let's just increase that. No, that's alright. But yeah, you get the general gist of that door. I don't know why that's not working now. It's being weird. Yeah, anyways. And then we've got the normal flappy door when it decides to work. Oh yeah, that's right. When these corner blocks are actually in, it actually stops it from opening. See, as you see, oh, there we go. I knew I did that for a reason. So yeah, that it seals it up. I got to do some airtight tests to see if that's airtight or not, because that would be really quite handy. But yeah, as we've done all of that, we've done a bit on the middle base in terms of that, which I think is really quite ugly. I might try and fix this. Give me some suggestions in the comments below. Get some stairs in. Definitely a work in progress, as you see. But I have been sick with the family for quite some time. I lost my voice, all sorts of stuff. And yeah, that was good fun times. I think we got COVID Omicron variant in Sydney, Australia. So that was fun times. Once more, thank you as always for watching. Make sure you stick around for next episode, where I really want to upgrade this tower with the Minefield Drone 2.0. So we'll probably be printing all of those off in the next episode. I want to eventually decommission the temporary base, because I'm sick and tired of babysitting the thing, and I don't really use it. I kind of forget about it a lot. I really want to get the Mark II drill, which is now uploaded already for you to download. It now has flight capabilities. Probably place it over there to move this printer over there, for the fact that I want one GPS marker there for the east. We got another one over here for the north. But if we place the same height GPS marker for the west, it will run into the tower itself. So I don't think that would be the best idea. It would need to be off at an angle, like something over here where I could have the same GPS there, nothing in the way, same thing, and then like same thing all the way around without anything in the way. But that would be a really long connection. Yeah, that would be quite different. But yeah, that is my printer. I will definitely have to work on the storage way. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Stick around for more. Until next episode, stay sharp, and thanks for watching, as always.